Hi families, welcome to Lesson 2 in our unit on fractions. Today's focus question is right here. How do we add and subtract fractions? Today we're going to focus on fractions that have common or like denominators. We'll later, during another lesson, focus on fractions that have unlike denominators. But today, we're going to take these 3 simple steps and add and subtract fractions and mixed numbers. Step 1. Write your fractions horizontally. Personally, I know that I like writing the problems horizontally, and I'll show you why. Some students enjoy writing it vertically. Really, I suggest they do whichever works for them, but for me, it's horizontally because you can see the denominators matching up and the numerators matching up. Step 2. You need to check for common denominators. A common denominator means the number on the bottom of the fraction down below needs to match the other one that you're adding it to. If they are not common denominators, then skip to a couple of lessons ahead on this webpage, and I'll show you how to add and subtract those types of fractions. However, if they are common, then you skip to step number 5. And in that case, step 5 is simply add or subtract the whole numbers, if there are any, and then add or subtract the numerators. Finally, push the denominators into your answer, because denominators just simply stay the same when you add, subtract, or compare fractions together. Let's take a look at an example. The first example I want to look at is if I were to take 5/11ths and add it to 5/11ths. This is what it would look like on my whiteboard. First of all, I would need to take the problem and rewrite it horizontally. I don't want it to be vertical because then you may not be able to see that the two numerators are eventually going to be added together and the denominators down below are just going to get pushed into my answer. Again, the reason the denominator gets pushed is because you never change those denominators when you are adding, subtracting, or comparing fractions. However, the numerators in this case would get added. So step 1, rewrite your fractions horizontally. I've done that here. Step 2, check to see if the denominators are common. Well, 11 matches 11. That means in this equation, they are common denominators. I can then skip to step 5. Add or subtract the whole numbers. I don't have any whole numbers in this example. And then add or subtract the numerators. 5 plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When I add 5 plus 5, I get 10. And finally, I push the denominator into my answer, which gets me 10 over 11. Following these 3 steps, writing the fractions horizontally, step 1, checking for common denominators, step 2, and adding or subtracting whole numbers and then my numerators and pushing my denominators, step 5, finishes it up. Remember, this is step 5 because if they're not common denominators, you need to add 2 steps, but that's for another unit. Let's take a look at the other example that you maybe already saw in orange. The reason this example is a little bit different is because I have whole numbers. A whole number with a fraction is known as a mixed number. My whole number 9, my whole number 5, and my fraction 5/10 with 3/10. So in this case, I do have to follow step 5 specifically. And if I don't, I'm probably going to get the problem wrong. So the first thing I need to do is follow step 1. Step 1 is to write your fraction horizontally. I've done that here. I've taken a vertical equation and I've created a horizontal equation. Horizontal means nothing more than writing it how we normally see it in our English language from left to right. Step 2, check for common denominators. Again, in this equation, I have common denominators. A denominator of 10 matches a denominator of 10, so I can skip down to step number 5. Add or subtract the whole numbers. Make sure that you're focused just on these big whole numbers. Do not confuse them or mix them up with the fractions. So, I like to put boxes around my whole numbers. That sets my eyes to this 9 and this 5 and reminds me that I have to add those first and make it big in my equation. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I immediately can write my whole number 14 into my answer. But I'm not done just yet because step 5 also tells me to add the numerators and push the denominator into my answer to get a mixed number. So I create my fraction line, and then I add my numerators, 5 plus 3, 6, 7, 8. And I push my denominator into the answer, which gives me my final answer of 14 and 8 over 10. So again, following these 3 steps, write your fraction horizontally, check for common denominators, add whole numbers, and then add numerators and push denominators, and you are able to add and subtract all fractions that we see. Depending on if you're adding or subtracting is the only real difference. But you've got to make sure that the denominators are the same. If they're not, you've got to check back for another lesson that will help you out on that question. However, if you're ready for some practice, check out the video directly next to this one and print the worksheet down below and work on the problems with your student at home. Thanks for checking out this site.